Russia reacting swiftly to Washington's approval of Ukraine's use of US-made weapons on Russian soil. The Kremlin says these decisions will heighten tensions and further entrench US involvement in the Ukraine war. Moscow's ally, China, renewed calls for a practical solution to this conflict.
早日停火止战，寻求政治解决，符合各方的利益。当务之急是尽快推动局势降温。
The EU has also weighed in with at least one official expressing hope that European leaders would give Ukraine the same green light.
I've been saying once and again that Ukraine should be able to use the arm we provided to them in order to not only to stop the arrow, but also to be able to hit the Arcas.
While France and Germany approve of Washington's decision, Hungary warned it would, quote, expand the Ukraine war to a global scale. CNA spoke to the Ukrainian ambassador to Singapore. That's Katerina Zelensko, who has stressed the need to support Kyiv's war effort.
Well, for 1,000 days now, we see that Russia continues its war of aggression against Ukraine. We have been warning that Russia is getting support from North Korea. It started with supplies of artillery shells and missiles, and now we see the armed forces of North Korea on the ground in Europe. We see it as a clear escalation step, and we urge our partners to deliver all the necessary support for the strong response. If we have more capabilities to repel these attacks, it will help very much to protect our people on the ground, to protect civilians, but also it will be a very important step forward in strengthening Ukraine's defense capabilities.
As I speak to Megumi Lim live now in Kyiv. Megumi, we just heard from Ukraine's ambassador to Singapore is 1,000 days in, so getting that approval now to use US-made missiles on Russian soil, does that in fact change the cause of the war?
Well, experts are saying that this policy change is not going to be a game changer, but it will help Ukraine achieve a number of things. First of all, this US-supplied ATACMS long-range missiles that is part of this policy change has a range of about 300 kilometers, and experts are saying that this will be useful in helping Ukraine strike at air bases that are located deep inside Russian territory. These air bases house the very fighter jets that have been responsible for launching devastating missile attacks against Ukrainian frontline positions and also Ukrainian cities, just like the attack that we saw yesterday, where according to Ukraine's Air Force, over 40 fighter jets of various types were launched to carry out one of the biggest mass missile attacks of the war that killed and injured dozens of civilians and also hit Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Now, the second thing is that these long-range missiles will be useful also in striking a military logistics hub to cripple Moscow's war machine. Just to give you a background of when this decision, this policy change has taken place, Russia is currently preparing to launch a major counteroffensive in its Kursk region using a force of about 50,000 soldiers that reportedly includes about 10,000 North Korean soldiers. Right now, Ukraine currently controls about 600 square kilometers of territory in Russia's Kursk region, which Kyiv was hoping could be useful as a bargaining chip if and when talks did take place with Moscow. Now this territory is under threat, but experts are saying that with this policy change, it could cripple Moscow's ability to launch this counteroffensive.
Well, Megumi, Mr. Trump takes over the White House in January. Is there any chance of Ukraine getting any more support from the Biden administration before they head into a Trump administration?
Well, Ukraine is definitely stepping into the unknown with this incoming Trump presidency, and Ukraine is hoping to get as much aid as it can get. We've seen the Biden administration already pledge to release the remaining approved some $6 billion worth of military aid to Ukraine before Trump takes over the White House. But we are also seeing a shift in focus by Ukrainian officials to focus more strongly on how Ukraine can secure guarantees and protection for when the war ends, as we are seeing a possible ceasefire scenario in the near future under Trump presidency, where Kyiv may even have to give up some territory to Russia. Of course, a NATO invitation is what Ukraine wants, but we've not seen allies budge on this request. So Ukrainian officials have been saying that possibly a sort of defense relationship that is similar to the one the United States has with countries like Israel or even Taiwan could be another option. But basically, Ukraine is saying that it needs solid, firm security guarantees from its partners to make sure that Russia doesn't invade again in the future.
Oh, thanks. Megumi Lim reporting live there from Kyiv.